On the most serious charge, that's first-degree intentional homicide, he faces 5.
54, and has the jury reached a verdict as to each count of the information?
Yes, we have, Your Honor.
One verdict and one verdict only.
Yes.
Would you hand all the paperwork to the bailiff, please?
This is the one that did it.
Can I begin? Yeah, thanks. May I see that too, please?
And you're listening to Judge Bruce Schroeder right there, getting the instructions from the jury, saying that they have in fact reached a verdict. And as Judge Schroeder gets organized here, we can review some of the charges here. Once again, facing 5 different charges from first-degree reckless homicide, first-degree recklessly endangering safety, first-degree recklessly endangering safety.
Defendant will rise, face the jury, and hearken
You
to
can see the
its
charges
verdict.
there up on the screen. The most serious first-degree intentional homicide, the judge did allow some lesser charges to be
First
considered.
count of the information, Joseph Rosenbaum. We, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Brickhouse not guilty. As to the second count of the information, Richard McGinnis, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Brickhouse not guilty. As to the third count of the information, unknown male, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Brickhouse not guilty. As to the fourth count of the information, Anthony Huber, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Brickhouse not guilty. As to the fifth count of the information, Gage Roscoe, we, the jury, find the defendant Kyle H. Brickhouse not guilty.
Members of the jury, these two are unanimous verdicts. Is there anyone who does not agree with the verdicts as read? Would you wish the jury poll? No. Okay. Okay, folks, your job is done, and we started just about 3 weeks ago. And I told you it for the last 2 weeks and 2 days. This is 2 weeks. This is 3 weeks. You were a wonderful jury to work with. You were punctual. You were attentive. And the forgotten six over here who had a very difficult job of keeping from discussing the case during the time that they were sequestered as well. All of you, I couldn't have asked for a better jury to work with. And it has truly been my pleasure. I think, without commenting on the verdicts themselves, just in terms of your the attentiveness and the cooperation that you gave to us, justifies the confidence that the founders of our country placed in you. So I dismiss you at this time. You're never under any obligation to discuss any aspect of this case with anyone. You're welcome to do so as little or as much as you want. The media have requested, a number of media sources have requested the ability to talk to you, and they have been allowed to present presentations to you that you'll get in writing. And it's entirely up to you whether you want to contact them. They are not to contact you. If anyone does contact you, and just you tell them you're not interested in discussing it, if that's the case. And if anyone persists in doing so, report that to us and it will be addressed, I assure you. At the beginning of the trial, there was some concern about information and your safety, and I assure you that we will take every measure to ensure that that is your concerns are addressed and respected. And I'm going to talk to you for just a minute, not about anything to do with the case, but just about that sole issue. And you, as I say, you're welcome to discuss the case as little or as much as you want. Any questions, anybody? Thank you so much. And you're after 4 years, you're eligible for service. It would be my pleasure to work with you. Thank you. Yeah.
There you have it. The jury finding Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty on all counts. We saw the camera on Rittenhouse for a period of time there. He was clearly emotional, even bracing himself on the desk. We're also told that his mother, Wendy, was in the courtroom in tears, also close to Kyle Rittenhouse's sisters as well, all three of them huddled in the courtroom. That's that video from earlier when the verdict was read, Rittenhouse hugging one of his defense attorneys. Once again, not guilty on all counts in the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse. Let's bring in ABC senior national correspondent Terry Moran. Terry, you've been on this case from the beginning here. Walk us through the significance of this verdict today.
Well, it's very significant. First, for the community of Kenosha, this
Okay, now that we have the verdict, let's invite some people up. Somebody coming here saying some nonsense in the chat, get them out of here. If you can't get them out of here, I'll remove the wrench from every single person in this damn place. Now, to be honest, about the two people that he killed, could have typically been swung as a self-defense. The Grosskreutz thing, I thought he was dead to the wrong for that, nearly blowing the dude's arm off. I thought that they was going to find him guilty on that, but they found him not guilty of everything. So you know what this is going to happen. The actual message that this is going to send, it's going to send a message that you can walk into a situation with a loaded firearm and claim self-defense. Even after you shoot people, you still have self-defense. That guy didn't show not a shred of single care. He took no responsibility during the entire trial, and that's what you have. And this is a very, very, very bad message. Well, in the Ahmaud Arbery case, it's a little bit more clear. The guilt is a hell of a lot more clear. But you have to understand that just because he got away with these charges, that doesn't stop him from getting away with the federal charges. And civil rights charges that's going to be coming this way. And you actually do go to jail for those things. I'm just saying, if somebody's walking around with their firearm, this is another thing that's going to happen. People are just going to shoot them on the spot. They're not going to ask any questions. They're going to say that their life were in danger. They're going to shoot. That's it. So those are the things that you have here. So. But, you know, this is kind of where we are. You know, you really can't say much about it other than that. But it sends a very, very, very bad message. You can be underage. You can cross state lines with a weapon that is intent on one reason and one reason only. That is to cause as much damage as possible, and you can be 100% innocent. But this is what the message that this is going to send. Because anytime there's any, okay, so there's going to be a protest probably tonight. What if somebody walks out there with a loaded firearm and do exactly what this dude did? Wait till he surfs into an action. Wait till people gather around him and just shoot his way out and claim self-defense. That's what's going to happen here. So that's what you got. And these things are just not needed. So you have to understand, somebody has a firearm, and you feel like your life is in danger, you get to shoot first. Because that's what you're going to have to do. Because they've already set the standard that there's going to be no trouble for the actual person who came in here with a weapon that he wasn't supposed to have. So you got to protect yourself out there. Me personally, I don't go to these protests or any of that stuff. because I think the only true way you can protest is by showing up to vote and not going down to any type of polling place. I'm talking about having the vote come to your house. Yeah, they can't steal the mail. I'm definitely not going to go sit in somebody's line so that way I can stand out there for hours on end. I don't have time for that. That's what I'm saying. So this is what it is, and yeah, there's really not much you can do in a a circumstance like this. Like I said, it's in the jury's hands, and with him being a verdict, that means he don't get to be retried specifically on these charges. Now, that doesn't mean that the civil rights charges and the federal charges won't be coming hard and heavy for this dude, because it's not going to be this same judge. It's going to be a federal judge and federal prosecutors who's not going to let this guy go for anything else in the world. If I was the parents right now, I would start to sue this guy because there is a lesser burden of proof for civil penalties than it is legal penalties. Remember, they did the same thing to O.J. Simpson. He was found, what was it? Not guilty by verdict, but after the verdict, he was found civilly liable for the deaths of those people that died on his property. Yeah, but that's his job, Lionel McTow. He do get to suppress evidence. He do get to suppress evidence. He let this dude pick his own jury. Like, how did that work? A whole bunch of stuff went wrong. But after things like this is where you get involved, so that way nothing like this happens again. You have to understand that your safety is in your own hands. I do not want people to show up to any of these type of events, so that way there's a 100% chance that you don't end up in these type of situations. But it is your right to peacefully protest. We're going to wait to see if they do it, if they actually do it. So from now on, if somebody sees somebody with a firearm, they can just shoot on sight. Because apparently you can get away with it if you do it this kind of way. So I keep telling you, don't show up to these type of events because you're not under any type of protection when you go there. Thanks for the $4.99 super chat, Justin March. For me, the best way to protect yourself is not even to be in these situations in the first place. You do not affect the outcome of anything taking yourself to a place where people can already gun you down without the use of law. So you don't need to go out there and protest people who can actually kill you without provocation. That's what I'm trying to be. So for the most part, I'll drop the link in the chat again if you wants to come up and talk about this. Oh. So that's it for the most part for this right here. He got off. That's what happened. And I'm just giving you the factual information from, military standpoint. Military, there wouldn't be a person getting off of this type of stuff. They wouldn't be getting off of this type of stuff. Yeah, like I said, man, it's just a dangerous precedent. This dude did everything he could to prejudice the jury, and that's what it was, man. On the guns, what's going on, man? The gun, you're muted.
Yeah. How you doing there, Moti? Thanks
Oh, what's
for
up,
inviting
man?
me up. Yeah. Not very surprised at this verdict. I'm not very surprised. I was talking with a couple of my compadres, even some of my fraternity brothers when we have our Thursday night. We were anticipating what would happen here, and just given the history of certain things and the stuff I was just hearing from a lot of people, and how the judge, in my view, was. I have to say, I think he was very prejudicial. I believe that this had an effect. Vigilante justice. Certain kind of people with long guns can roll up and do what they want to do, and can get away with it. Certainly, that won't be afforded to us if that ever happened with us on any circumstance. But certainly that was afforded to him. So the jury came through. So it was a jury of the so-called peers, and that's what happened. But I do think this sets a precedent, and another precedent. It's going to involve a lot of stuff to go down. So I think things are going to get a little bit more. Things are going to get a little heated. Things are going to get a little tight. And I am totally in agreement that in these kinds of circumstances, these big how would I say demonstrations or whatever going on, you're going to have to be very careful going there, because you're going to obviously see that there are going to be some people who are going to come up and they might get away with blowing you away, unless you're going to come in there armed, and you're not going to get treated the same way as some of these other people will get treated if that's the case. So I would say be very careful, going to these to these types of events, because anything can happen, and if you do get shot or killed, doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's going to get prosecuted for it. MOT?
Yeah, it's not a good life, man. You have to watch your ass for the rest of your life. Nobody's going to hire you. Nobody's going to work with you. Nobody's going to do anything. Because
Yeah.
people feel a very different way than this verdict, obviously.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's no situation I want to put myself in. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
I would never do that. I would never go down there. I would never think that doing something like that, after an action like that, solves any problem. And people just don't get it. If you take the proper action, you won't be worried about taking the improper action that never leads anywhere. You have to ask yourself historical precedent, or you get to be seen, whatever. However, this doesn't solve a problem. You solve a problem with legislation. You solve a problem with rules.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the behaviors of people. As I said, I believe this will embolden those. Like, okay, I have a gun permit. I know others have gun permits, but I don't want to walk around and have to carry a gun around all the time. But this may be where we're at. I'm not saying that this is absolutely where we're at, but you can obviously see somebody coming out of state getting a long gun charges thrown out. He can come in there and look to say he's protecting someone. Protecting whom? You have police there and everybody else like that. So you can have vigilantes come in and do as they see fit, especially if they are a certain type of person. They can come in and do what they want. If this is the precedent that they're setting, and this has been set many times in the past, as we know. But if this is the current precedent that they're setting, this is a dubious one. This is a very dubious one. We have to look at where this is actually going to go, and how this is going to affect down the line. I don't see that being a very good one. I don't see it being very good. But anyway, go ahead, MOT.
I would also tell people to be very conscious of the people who celebrate such a thing.
Yeah, very much.
Within the manosphere, period.
Well,
on either side of the manosphere. Yeah, fine.
We already know that. But what they don't understand is you go out there and do that and run out there and run and start blowing people away and start doing that kind of stuff. I think you'll see a different side of the game for yourself. like I said, I've been reading a few books and looking at history, and this kind of thing is nothing new. And it seems like to me they're getting a bit more recalcitrant in their positions with respect to how they want a certain type of narrative to be played out here in this country, and that is something that we all have to be very concerned about.
Yeah, I agree with you. It also sets another precedent that's very bad here. Everybody now can just expect if you have a long gun, shoot him on sight. The moment he point that gun at you. That's the other precedent it sets. And you're going to have to, and they can just cite this case. That's the actual deal.
That's how you're going to ultimately have to look at it. Because, see, if you're going to promote a certain level of lawlessness, then where does it stop? If I'm carrying my gun with me, and somebody's walking around, he's carrying a long gun, and he moves that anywhere in my direction, I'm not going to wait to see what he's going to do. I'm going to put one right through his medulla oblongata, and his soul will be shot out of his body before he hits the ground. Now, where does that leave me? Where does that leave me in a situation like that?
You're going to have to pay for a defense. You're going to have to pay for a defense.
For real. Where does that leave me? And where does that leave others who are in this kind of situation? So this is I believe in the fundamentals of law and order, but people can protest. They can do such. But rolling up to protest movements with long guns and so forth, is going to be very interesting, because when we start to see the elections coming up in 22 and certainly in 24, where people are going to be standing on lines going to vote, people are going to be rolling up with long guns there and trying to do their intimidation thing, and what are we really looking at? What are we really looking at here? This is serious business. This is serious business, because there are a lot more things that are going to come up that are going to bring a lot more political, racial, and social angst that are going to, I think, that this could potentially exacerbate that problem.
Oh, sure.
And I think when people start cold gunning, let's say at election sites and so forth, what are we going to be looking at? What are we really going to be looking at?
This isn't a good look, and this new case law on the books that says that's what it is. So.
Yeah, and I'm reading the comments as I think Richard Dixon said they don't even have to point it. You can say you saw them reaching for it. Trust me, the justifiable homicide law down here in Florida. Yeah, but you're starting to see, there was one guy who ended up shooting somebody, some kids, some black kids in a gas station. He ended up going to jail, saying he was standing his ground. Now you're in an open carry state and people can carry weapons on them. What does that mean? You're in an open carry state, you can carry weapons on you. How does that play out? You see, the law here, the law has got to be consistent. So I'm not seeing that level of consistency with law. I'm a gun owner, and I believe certainly in being armed. But wildness and wild west action and vigilante activity, I don't support at any level. But this is what we're looking at, and suppressing a lot of the evidence of this individual, being with supremacists and so forth, that set the tone for where this guy was. They didn't want any of that to come out either. So there's just a lot here that you have to question. The verdict's in. It's over. He cannot be retried on this at this stage. Civil actions will, there'll be, I'm sure, civil actions that will come out against him. I don't know if there'll be any other federal civil rights trials or anything will come up underneath this. I don't know how that will work, but this is going to reverberate down the road for a bit. And like you said, MOT, watch who's celebrating this. Just keep your eyes on who's celebrating.
Because at the end of the day, these things shouldn't be happening within a first world democracy where you have to discuss such issues like this. It just shouldn't be happening. I don't care. So now, I tell you what, I'm packing at home. You swing that thing anyway in my direction. I'm telling you, it's, it's going to be spaghetti, meat sauce, and cabbage.
I
That's
mean,
exactly what it's going to be.
I would have to agree. I see a comment, DC up in here, breaking it down. Yeah,
What's wrong,
you're
DC?
right. So if some 18-year-old does, black male shows up at a right-wing rally, and if he's met with resistance, he should be able to clean the clock. He should, well, these guys are getting ready to do something crazy around here. The right-wingers, they're going crazy. We can't have that. So let me come here with my long gun and let me blow one of these guys away.
No, that like, okay, so here's what you're doing.
I don't believe that either, but still.
Yeah, but here's the standard that we're setting up. We're setting up a standard that if you're coming to peacefully protest, you have to bring a long gun with you. That's the standard that we're setting. In order for you to protect, you got to bring a long gun to protect yourself, right? Because if you don't, if somebody pushes you to the ground and you're too cowardly to throw them hands, you can, so now you're going to have armed protests now. That's what you want? That's what's going to happen. The right wing is going to come up trying to bully people with guns, and as soon as they point that gun in somebody's direction, because here's the thing. Kyle Rittenhouse shot. His homeboys didn't shoot anything. So it's quite obvious. They're just there to scare you with a gun. I'm just saying this. I'm not advocating this. But if you point that weapon at somebody, you can literally lose your life for doing that. Now do we know what the intentions are? The moment people try to take your gun away from you, the ideal is you still have the right of self-defense even after you shoot two people in a crowd that you walked into. You walked into that crowd.
Hey, he came to the crowd. He came to that crowd with a long gun. He came there with a long gun. He came, but he bum rushed the show with a long gun. That's what he did. And then one of these guys like, "Don't point a gun at me," and then started to hit him with a skateboard. Like, get back, get the hell out of here with that gun. And this kid was like, "Oh, I'm being attacked. Now let me blast him." Came in there. He set the whole environment up for this. Had he not come in there with a long gun, nobody would have got killed. Nobody would have got hurt. He would have never got attacked. And the police are there to do their job. The police are there to hold out. You saw at BLM, people want to bring up the BLM thing. Let's bring them up for a second. So when BLM was out there doing their rioting or whatever, a lot of people, when people said rioting, they were doing this, they were doing that. These people were getting locked up and getting thrown in jail. They were getting locked down. They were breaking windows. The cops were grabbing these people, locking their ass up.
And drone footage. Like Kyle Rittenhouse was the only person that they had on footage doing that stuff.
Man.
No.
Come on, man.
They had other people that they actually charged with all that stuff. Nobody ever checked up on the police officer that got caught on camera actually setting fires. You still haven't heard anything about that yet.
No, you haven't. They tried to play that off, but and that's been played, in certain media it's quite a bit. But nobody's talking about that. But be that as it may, people did get arrested, and I can't say anybody who said BLM or whatever. If you were out there snapping something up or creating any kind of breaking windows or doing anything else like that, your ass needs to go down. You need to go to jail.
Yeah, for real. Let's make sure that we make that clear. I'm not here to protect people who are doing property damage. Okay?
Yep.
I don't give a damn about that. That's illegal. That's against the law, and you should go to jail in every single case. And I hope they throw the book at your ass. You can go out there and do that. You want to actually make a difference? Participate in the process. Protesting and going out there breaking shit, that's not participating in the process. You participate by voting and actually organizing some type of legislation with signatures to put on the damn ballot. That's how you get answers. You take your ass out there, jumping up in the face of police and burning stuff. Dude, I don't care about your safety at that point. You on your own. I don't support that stuff. However, if you out there peacefully protesting and you got this gun out because you want to surf into action with a gun, like, dude, listen, people could just go start shooting on sight. They're not going to wait. They're not going to wait. What's going on, Renaissance man? Thanks for coming through.
Yeah. Nah, what's up? Nah, I was telling people the whole time, like I was telling the going.
Yeah.
I thought if anything that
QAnon Shaman got more time than Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yep.
He just entered the Capitol Rotunda.
he did. He was in the Rotunda acting the fool. But all of a sudden, here's this guy blowing people away, killing people, and blowing guys' arms off.
He killed two people, showed no remorse.
Two people,
and almost killed a third.
Yep.
One of his own relatives said he showed no remorse. So he was in there blowing people away. He got away with it, and hey, this is where we are. But like QAnon shaman, a crazy man should have definitely done time for what he did. But this guy can blow people away.
But this is a state case versus a federal case. A federal judge wouldn't be acting like that. A federal judge wouldn't have. A federal judge wouldn't have did none of that stuff that dude was doing, and nobody can say, "Hey, that's great that everything this judge did." Nobody. And guess what? I'm telling you. I'll tell you right now. You start openly celebrating something like this, they're gonna get your ass up out of their business. They don't want nobody like that around them. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, MOT, I was telling him to go. I thought he was gonna get off. I thought they were gonna get him on one of the reckless behavior, even if you couldn't prove first degree murder, went there, because then you start getting into premeditation and all of that. I thought just on the recklessness of it, because like I said, went to a place you had no permission to be, underage, bought a long gun, showing up with body armor. I thought all of that was gonna get him. But it wouldn't surprise me just when I saw the jury, how this judge was acting, if they would have, and the prosecution. He was saying I was listening to a legal room, they were literally saying that it sounds like the prosecution almost prepared for like a judge who is going to be sympathetic to them versus like a judge who is actually going to be, sympathetic to the defense. So they really called out the prosecutors on that as well too. But yeah, no, I think that, like you said, I think essentially what this is going to do is, like you said, you're going to have to show up protest armed, because this to me is along the same lines of these laws of you can drive through a crowd of protesters, stand your ground.
Yeah.
This is where all this is coming from. And the thing is, like, a lot of this legislation is so reactionary, it's not written in like a sound way. Like,
that's why the laws need to be updated. Dude, every time something like this happens, there has to be an after actions report. Like in the military, if something happens, there's an after actions report. Every single time that there's some type of shooting, missing bullets, anything, there's an after actions report. If not an IG inspection. Every time something like this, the call to action is, we're going to get some signatures to put some legislation on the ballot and on the books. So that way you can have them, because nobody thinks that this stuff is really okay. There's a certain subsegment of people who do, but in actuality, you have to put things on the books that state, add this to the Constitution. You cannot surf into a situation with, and this is what federal law, the basis of federal law was to create law that the states would never do. So whenever the states enacted in something, the feds would pick up the tab.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, this is, like I said, that's the thing, is so many of these laws, like, people come up with the whole culture war thing, but it's like when you start actually implementing them and then see how like people are going to rule on them, the administration of them, like you start to see how bad they are as far as just like the concepts they came up with, or how poorly the bills are written. Because you, like I said, you end up with things like this, or you end up with the judge throwing out the gun charge on a hunting technicality. It's like this type of stuff.
Another comment I see, RJs, what's up, baby? Absolutely. Prosecution did produce, they want to get on
the strongest case they possibly could.
They put it up, man. They put it up as the judge himself. A lot of evidence they did not permit to come into the to get admitted. A lot of stuff that a federal judge, had they been in it, would have admitted a lot of this stuff. They didn't admit a lot of this. They wanted a lot of this out. So, I'm looking at, I know this brother David Henderson right now. He's a civil rights attorney. He's speaking heavily on this and kind of making some of the same points. But this is very, very, very
not good.
This is very dubious, man. So, and it opens the door to a lot of craziness, because now.
Oh yeah, man.
Once again, like you said, what would stop some brother or some guys going to some right wing place, and these right wingers are running around? They're like the Proud Boys running around trying to burning, smashing windows of churches and so forth, and then couple guys like, oh, look what they're doing, man, yo, go get them, man. Oh, next thing you know, they start dropping, they start dropping fire on them.
Yeah.
What's going to happen then? What's going to happen then? You have a right to do that, right? You have a right to blow their ass away.
But here's the thing. But the expectation is there is no consequences for action. So it's just going to force people to strike first. Because that's what happens in situations like this.
Yeah.
What is this going to do is you're going to sling that thing around. And like I said, we're talking about meat sauce and cabbage greens or top ramen. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, that's what it is. Because at the end of the day, if you already set a precedent that it was on video, with video, it wasn't a problem. So it's like, okay, whether it is or isn't, I'm going to take X action. That's what you're telling people. Because even with video, it's not a problem. Being underage, not a problem. Cross the state lines, not a problem. All these things are wrong. His mother still should be charged with reckless endangerment. Has nothing to do with the outcome of the case because it's still an underage dude who did something. That she took him there. Now, she on the other foot, they would have charged everybody even associated with his case with
shoe on the other foot would have literally been up with a little bit.
You'd be under the jail.
You'd have up your backside. That shoe would have been off your foot, up your rear end. 5 feet up.
They would hit a button
you'd
and you're
Dr. Shoulders.
Yeah. Like they just would have hit a button and you would just slid all the way to the jail cell, no matter how far it is away. That's what it would have been, man.
There's no doubt.
All right, go ahead, Rashawn, man.
No. I was going to say too. The other thing that this makes me think of, you got the trial for the killing of Ahmaud Arbery. You got that trial going on, and I'm like, with this one coming out first, I still do think that the men there will be found guilty.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Oh! I definitely think so because I was looking at one of the just one of the attorneys for the prosecution, and just asked this guy about him walking up and seeing a poor homeless white guy with a machete that was talking stuff to him. He went and talked to the guy and didn't pull and had his long gun with him and did nothing to that guy. But when he sees this brother jogging down the street, no weapon, no anything, they roll up on him and they end up trying to take him out.
Sure.
They were asking, she was just breaking that down on him, and he was sitting there. He was pulling Ralph Cramden kind of like a hamana. He didn't really know what to say because he knew the case that she was making, and she walked him beautifully into it. So these guys look way out there, but really they're very similar. They're one is more racially charged, this other one is supposedly not as racially charged. It's more of a how would you say it's he's going to demonstration protecting property, but here you are going to Kenosha in a black area, in a mostly black area. I mean that's where this guy was coming into. So,
but you have to realize
what you have to say about that. I mean, it's just very interesting to see. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just a bad deal all the way around. They're giving the wrong message, and because the expectation is you ain't gonna do nothing back. That's why this is happening. You ain't gonna do nothing back. We're gonna walk in with overwhelming force, and we ain't scared to use it. Well, what happens when the other side ain't scared to use it either? Then what?
But that's the thing. See, when you get verdicts like this, and you get like the bad precedent set, like ultimately it just leads to something stupid's gonna happen down the road. That's really gonna be a black eye on everybody, and then you will end up with like some revision to the law at some point. It's like because like I said, just give it a matter of time when either like the next protest break out, whatever. Someone's gonna go in there do something stupid, and they're gonna be like pointing to, or people gonna be like, yeah, this is what is emboldened behind it. And it's like, oh, okay, people thought they could do this. Oh, now we have to put a law to actually fix it. Like this type of stupid stuff to happen.
But this is what happened.
Or MOT, or it's gonna be like the table's gonna be turned. Someone black is gonna end up doing something like this, and then they're gonna say, "Oh, wait, this can apply to." Okay, we got to change it.
Yeah, because the expectation is there's nothing that's going to happen from the other side. So now you're just going to have people. I'm telling you, you're just going to have that thing. It's going to come in somebody's direction. You're going to take an offensive post trying to tell people to stop pursuing, and that's going to be the end of you for just being there with it. Because guess what? You don't get to make the claims that you haven't heard of what's going on. Because I do believe that these people are just going to show up with the actual equipment just to scare people. I do think that. But at the end of the day,
Oh yeah, they're already doing it now.
oh yeah, no, it's like, look, okay, do whatever you like, but guess what? When the other side gets to do the same thing that you can do, and it becomes a first come, first serve
First,
type,
literally first serve.
yeah, type situation, because the expectation is that he said that he brought it, but he didn't think that he was going to have to use it. So what happens when people bring it and they want to use it? They can't wait for you to step out of line. They can't wait for you to surf into an actual situation and pop, 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 pop. Because guess what? Those other people didn't help him out when he did that. Those other people stayed there and let him be all on his own. But they're going to throw the book at the guy with the last name Black who gave him the gun in the first place. We know that guy's going down. All right? Yeah. We know he's going down.
Well.
Now, Nagone, you said you were looking at, what was the name of the legal expert you were looking at? Civil rights attorney.
He was just on. I'm going to forget his name here. I'm just drawing a blank. I'm just on something else. I'll remember in a second. But he was speaking on kind of what we were just talking about. I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I'm just going over some stuff here online. Gentlemen, this is not a very good decision. What could come out of this is massacre type violence. When the rabbit comes in there with the gun, and now the so-called tough guys are gonna be in there with the guns, what are you gonna do, man, when the shit pops off? I specifically remember the gun club, the UP Newton Gun Club, whatever they went on into Stone Mountain, Georgia, and they came in there 300, almost 400 brothers strapped like bamboo. The white boys, they didn't show. They didn't come out. And they were walking right up in the Klan territory, and they did not show.
You want to know why?
Now we had overwhelming force. Even the police force fell back. They were like, all right, we got to let these guys come in here because they got more guns than we got. So now you saw what it looks like when you come in with the overwhelming force. Is that how this game is going to have to be played right? I'm suspecting yes, and at a certain level I don't have a problem with some of that. But at another level, I do have an issue with what could potentially happen. Given these circumstances and where does law and order really come into play? Because
Go. All right, this ain't the only thing. That's not the only thing at play here. What happens if the police point their guns at somebody?
Yeah. That's a whole nother.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
I heard someone say that it is that if a police officer is violating a law, like you're getting unlawfully arrested, you actually have the legal standing to resist. Is that true?
In Indiana, that's the only place that does that.
Okay.
But what this case says is that
I recommend you don't do it. He was like, no, I recommend you don't do it because it
no, because
yeah, I recommend
the amount of force that's going to show up on scene is going to be overwhelming.
It is, and we know now that the police forces are militarized quite well.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, NYPD, in the city. Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy.
Yeah,
they break out. They're breaking out with helicopters, submarines, half tracks, tanks, anything you can think about. They got
with crime rates at an all-time low, or not all-time low, but way lower than they were. Like, say, you're from New York, the 80s, 90s.
I'm on the figures right now. We have 399 murders in New York City. currently, even with people saying even this so bad. It's up from where it was back in 2018 when we had the lowest, so we had 217. So it is up. It is up, but the crimes, but the numbers are low as opposed to where it was in 1990, where you had 2,500. So the numbers are precipitously down, but yet the police forces have armed up, and it's not because we've got more police presence. It's because people, the drugs, blacks have come off of crack. We haven't gotten on heroin at the levels, we had the heroin, we went through the heroin phase in the late 60s, early 70s. So we went through all that already. So we're not going through the drug epidemic, that certainly has hit the white community the way it is. So you're not seeing those drug crimes like we had in the early 90s. So people have gotten off it. Kids are they're more going to school and so forth like that, than as opposed to being in street gangs. But you still have knuckleheads running around doing dumb shit. But you don't have nearly the murders or even the assaults that you've had. Now you have crime rate that is you do have some properties, some thefts and so forth, but even those are at least 30 to 40 at about a 30% rate, to where it's 70% less than where it was back in those times. So I've been watching Crime Figures a lot, because I like to hear these people talk about what's going on in New York, but they don't know the numbers. And I'm a numbers guy, so I'm going to stay on top of the numbers and look where we are as far as that's concerned. But yeah, still don't go against NYPD. Regardless, that wouldn't be smart, because they have the ability to do incredible amounts of damage in a fairly safe city. So it's really crazy. It's really crazy how we've militarized our police forces.
Yeah, but nothing has really justified this type of stuff anyway. I would just force the police to wear less and less equipment. If you're not going to put your thumb or finger down on anything that's happening or any type of legislation, we just take some of these vests away and some of these long guns away and all this stuff away, so that way we can get your input on things that are happening, right? So that's all it was. They didn't care what the threat was in the military. You know what? The gear stays the same.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
The gear does stay the same.
Yeah, so it's like with this type of situation, like I said, it opens the door for this stuff to even happen to the police too, because that's not exempt from this type of situation. It doesn't.
The other thing too with the military MOT, like if you actually go and look and like study like military in general, like philosophy of even the United States, like the military in general, and I mean, granted, you have some neocons who've obviously changed philosophy, but if you look at like the Powell Doctrine, like use of force is like the last thing you revert to. Like that's what he talks about in his doctrine. Essentially, like, hey, diplomacy, economic, political, all those means need to be exhausted, and then like use of force is the last one, and it's like get it done as quickly as possible.
Right.
But this was a key piece to that doctrine. If you break it, you own it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was his thing. If you're gonna come in here and tear this thing out of the frame, tear it out the frame, then buddy, you got to put that frame back together again, and that's that. Now you got a nation building. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. And any
that's why the idea was
we got to hit it quick, fast, and get at it.
And that's why the idea was. Hold on a second. Like that's why the idea was to go in big and get it over with quick, because you don't want to do nation building. You go after the key areas so that way you don't have to do nation building or any of that other stuff. You remove the clear threat and get out of there. You don't try to do the occupation thing with Iraq and Afghanistan. That's not part of the Powell Doctrine. That's not part of the Powell Doctrine at all.
But it's ironic.
That's why
you have, like the military that operates from that that basis as far as use of force, and it's like you can't hold civilian policing to, hey, like use of force is the last line of defense, like exhaust all other means.
Yeah. And it's like it's as much as they want to go around with all this garb on for like weekend warrior type stuff, like the whole discipline piece ain't there. It ain't there. And you even have like former people who used to be in the military kind of on this type of nonsense as well, and I really don't like that.
Yeah.
My whole thing is like you got people. Oh, go ahead, go.
No. Go ahead, Aaron. You got it.
No, I was just saying, like, with the whole thing too, like, people don't even think about like the legal liability behind this as well too, because that's the other thing. I'm sure he's going to get sued legally for this as well, even though I'm sure he'll raise a bunch of money to pay off if there's actually a civil trial, like as far as like being responsible for the deaths. But when you start talking about, like I said, people showing up and trying to crowd control, go confront, protect property, it's like, dude, if you go and escalate a situation, police and all that, they at least have, legal authority and training behind, hey, I'm going to go do what this is done, versus you literally put yourself in liability. If you can prove someone, hey, he actually made the situation worse by trying to like protect property and more property was damaged. Like that's the whole thing. And that may be the thing that sinks a lot of this at the end of the day is that's what seems to sink a lot of this stuff in this country. The culture war stuff is, hey, businesses start saying, oh, wait, I don't want that legal burden. Like, same thing when you saw these open carry or concealed carry laws in the Deep South, if you remember about 20 years ago, when those came, the very next day you saw businesses with basically signs on the door like, hey, you can't carry your gun in here because I'm not getting sued for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's bottom line. It's just the real question here is where is the law going to be drawn on this? Where's the law going to be drawn on this? That's a very real issue here. You have guys coming from out of state. So that means you can have your Boogaloo boys and these other guys come from out of state into an area, bring long guns in, have them bought into that area by somebody else, and then come walking in and start blasting people. That's what you say you can actually do. You can do this. Where's the law drawn on this, man? I mean, these are real questions. I'm a gun owner. I love being a gun owner, but you would never catch me going into Connecticut with my guns to say there's a problem there and I got to walk up there and deal with somebody's business that's already protected by your insurance rider, your business insurance. You have that for destruction, liability.
Hold on, Nagone.
Give them a certain amount.
Nagone. So you mean to tell me that you're not going to Zales Diamonds or Saks Fifth Avenue to just go protect their stuff? So if something happens in New York?
Nah, bro. I don't think so.
It's like I don't even get that mentality because it's like you even got some like at one point, because you used to have some employees like at the place they work, they like if the place is getting robbed, they like try to step up and try to apprehend the person. It's like now even the directions in is like, oh, if someone's robbing us, like just let it happen and let them go. We don't want anyone to get hurt and get sued. Like we have insurance for that type of stuff. Like.
Except for these people at like Home Depot, Walmart, Lowe's, who just come out, barreling in a situation like, man, nobody wants to put themselves in any type of danger over those type of things. So it's quite obvious that the full expectation is nothing's going to happen. Now the expectation is going to be you step out of line, you swing that thing off of your actual shoulder, and like I said, spaghetti meat sauce, top ramen, and cabbage. All over the place. And they're going to have full justification to do that. Because remember, these people are cowards. That's why they walked in with overwhelming force, expecting not to be touched. But the moment you start going on the offense, people get to do the same thing to you. Why would you want people to just see you on site doing something crazy and wanting to blow you away? This is a two-way street now. The expectation is to expect trouble now. That's not what you want. That's not what you want.
No accountability. I see the family of the families of the killed, of the murdered, if you will, and they're sounding off on TV, saying there's no accountability. How can you have somebody getting blown away and that's it? So that's what we are. The verdict is in. Me and my frat boys and so forth. We were on our Thursday night sessions we have. we predicted that this would be the case. I told Mike V, I think early in the week, I think these guys are going to get off. And,
I was wrong, man. I was wrong.
Just looking at, I was thinking,
But now you were
I
right,
was hoping you
MOT.
guys were right.
No, you were right. It was a lot longer than I thought. I thought they were coming back the next day with a not guilty verdict.
No.
Anytime you see deliberations going for a week, for almost a week, oh man, it's not a good sign. It's
not a good sign.
There's a conviction if they come in quick the next day. But after a week.
All right, so we're about to wrap this up. So let's start talking about solutions, because people want solutions.
Wait.
Go ahead,
I have one question for you, MOT. If you knew this
Yeah.
from your experience, when they were saying that there was confusion around the jury instructions, like how is there confusion around that? Like your basic instructions?
No. What it was is that they made sure that he had the same rights of self-defense as the people attacking him. That's what nullified all the charges.
So that's what they were referring to when they said it was
the jury.
confusing?
Yes, the jury instructions.
Oh, okay.
It always came down to the jury instructions. So the jury instructions plus how this dude's handling things. Yeah. So let's talk about solutions. Okay. The one that got away. One always get away with things. Happens all the time. There's people.
Oh, go ahead.
Now, there's people who get away with stuff, but now you got to take tangible actions to actually do things. Rather than going out there protesting and doing a whole bunch of property damage, what you do, you start collecting signatures and putting a ballot measure on the ballot about what you can and what you can't do. That's what you tangibly do in situations like this. You know what this don't involve or resolve? Mixing it up with anybody. If you take the proper action, you don't have to act but one single time. Consistent action, the same proper action over time. You do not have to worry about running up in anybody's face. You just huddle up, get the signatures, put it on the ballot, and have them defend it. That's all. That's the only thing you need to be doing here. You don't need to be going out there. You don't need to be writing a whole bunch of blog posts. Because look, it doesn't matter how mad you are at the situation. That jury decides that. All right. So now you got to take the tangible action now to do something about it. Because when you start acting appropriately, when things happen and you start getting results from those types of things, remember, they're not the only people who could be one-issue voters. You could be a one-issue voter too. Yeah, you can be a one-issue voter as well. And it's like, what people don't get is that you got to take the proper action here. Because everybody does a lot of talk. Everybody wants to be felt. Everybody wants to be heard. But nobody takes the most tangible actions that they can actually take. So that's the tangible action that you need to take from now on. Because I'm not even going to nurse or any type of conversation about this. I'm like, look, what proper action have you taken personally in your life? And stop worrying about other people to do it on your behalf. They're not going to do it on your behalf. They're happy that you don't participate as it is. Well, go ahead, Renaissance man.
No, I was gonna say the other thing is too. In this case, I guess that judge is probably elected.
I don't know Wisconsin law. I have not. I have not even looked that up.
But the other thing I was gonna say, regardless of it, this like you hear people talk about, oh, I'm not voting on the federal level. I'm just gonna vote on the state level. Like, granted, this is not a federal judge, but this shows what when you have a judge who is sympathetic, obviously, or biased towards the defendant, and blocks evidence.
A lot of evidence he suppressed. He suppressed a lot of evidence.
Yeah, when he does, that's the power of the judge. And when you start talking about, I'm not voting on the federal level. Okay, like the president, he appoints like the judges to the federal bench, and then they get confirmed by the Senate. So when you start talking about, oh, I don't care who the president is, it's like, okay, you don't care, and then you let people continue to put more people with like this judge's viewpoint or view of the world on the bench. Now, luckily, this is an old judge, so I'm sure part of that is just the mentality. Obviously, as demographics change, you will get, different judges, different backgrounds, but you have to actually get them nominated, and you can't let them do what Trump and McConnell did and put, 30-year-old judges who are going to be there for 40 years on the court, who are going to be sympathetic to stuff like this.
Yeah. Yeah, you go.
As far as this is going to have to really go to the ballots, you're definitely going, very much involved in politics. If you're going to look at some fundamental changes maybe in some of these laws that you're going to be looking at. You're going to have to put some resolutions on some propositions as to how this kind of thing is going to operate in your given municipality or maybe around the country. Who knows? But you're gonna. This is definitely going to have to take a larger, wider kind of political, societal type of turn, because if we don't really move in that direction, what we're looking at falling out from this is I don't see anything good coming out of this down the line. I don't see anything good coming out of this at all. This is I think somebody in the chat said this is like Pandora's box, and I believe it's open, and we're gonna have to look to close it. So this is going to have to be a politically organized issue where people are going to have to vote on these initiatives. There's no doubt about it, in my view. There's no doubt. I mean, to deal with it safely, because I think what's going to come out of this is not going to be good.
Well, sir, I hope you're organizing on the side that you are on, because otherwise, if you're just saying you're anti something, but you're not organizing on any type of side, you're actually not taking any action, and you're not really fooling anybody who's actually involved in the process itself. That's all I'm saying. So
that guy looks like a troll.
I don't really care. No, but that's what it is. It's like, these proclamations come out, and then you ask them what they're actually organizing for. They'll like, I did organize. I'm anti this. Okay, what are you pro, and what are you actually organizing for? No, you still got work to do, my man. I know you can do that. It's okay.
Yeah. So you can drop the anti because it's a simplistic term of thinking, but you can assume if someone is pro this, they're probably anti this as well too.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I don't really care, because most of these people just talk to stuff and they don't take tangible action anyway. I'm not trying to reach those people at all. Say whatever you want. I'm just telling you how to take tangible actions along with the stances that you take. You still got to take some action. You still got to prove that you're organizing on that side. You still got to read the laws and bills. You still got to be able to show up. Everything. And this stuff isn't as overwhelming as you think. If you guys can go around translating and memorizing mumble rap, you can definitely keep up with shit that matters. So, with that said, we right at an hour. So, you got any last words, Nagone 11?
No, MOT. Listen, good breakdown, and thanks for inviting me.
Renaissance man, got any last words?
Like I said, great breakdown as well. I think, like I said, you just gotta be aware of what this is going to be implications for your First Amendment rights, because you got a lot of people who are pro Second Amendment, anti First Amendment, who I'm sure are feeling themselves right now, and are emboldened. So keep your head on a swivel, and like you said, start looking at ballot initiatives. Start looking at some of these judges who are up there in your municipalities, and get involved, because that's what's going to make the change.
Yeah. So and here's another thing. If you ever went down there to actually participate in the process, most of these judges run unopposed anyway. There is nobody else on the ballot with them. There are several judgeships that I see no other option or choice but the judge that's currently there. And I guarantee you this guy's probably elected. But at the end of the day, you can just be on the ballot. You don't even have to run no type of campaign or nothing. You can just not that guy. You can run a simple ad. Look at this guy. Look what he did. Look at his behaviors. And that's it. Yeah, most of these judges run unopposed. Most of these magistrates, I'm not sure what jurisdiction y'all in, but most of them in Mississippi didn't even need to have a law background. They were just yokels who just plan to lock people up, and they was let on the bench making decisions about it.
Wait, come on. No legal background, but you're a judge? Come on, you got a political science degree or something, if that?
No, nothing. I'm just saying. But eventually over time they changed it. But that's what happens when you take action. You see how these people get up there and be up there for such a long time, and then you get them up out of there. Not hard. One gets away. But after one gets away, they take tangible action, so that way it never happens again. So you have a plan. Hey, I don't want to be that dude. I don't want to be that dude for no second. I don't want the bigot bucks to rein in to take care of me. No, I'd rather have my damn freedom.
Oh yeah, no. I've known small towns where they basically allege that the sheriff or something can't do basic legal paperwork in some of these small towns.
Oh yeah, easily.
So like filing charges, whatever, they can't even do that. So yeah, you literally do end up with instances like, oh, okay, well, I guess we'll just let him take care of it.
Yeah. So I think Sunday we're gonna go into the infrastructure bill because it just passed the House, so that way we can talk about what's in that. Because there's a lot of things that people need to know that's actually in that, so that way the people who are anti-party, they can prove what they actually organized for on their side of the aisle. So what you do is you're like, okay, and the response to these people are crickets. So that's what it is. And the only reason why they're anti one party over another because it's because of the women. It's not hard to see. But that's where we at, man. So I want to thank you guys for coming through. The verdict, all 6 charges dismissed, but now it's time for a tangible action, and you got to chop wood and carry water, because that's what we do around here. We get involved, we get invested, and we get involved. That's how you get tangible outcomes. You just don't make proclamations about what you're anti and not say what you're actually for and what you're not actually organizing for. So with that said, you know what I'm about to say. Keep your disdain high, keep your tolerance low. Always be skeptical and demand proof of action. Thank you so much, guys, for listening, and thank you guys for coming through. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. You guys have a really nice day.